Leah Kitty, 146 Robbins. So I'm here to talk about tonight's agenda item 4 is to award a professional services contract for $30,000 to an agency called Direct Development. I have previously in March asked what a professional service is and was referred by the township attorney to NJSA 40A:11-51A, which defines professional services as services rendered or performed by a person authorized by law to practice a recognized profession, whose practice is regulated by law, and the performance of which services requires knowledge of an advanced type in a field of learning acquired by a prolonged formal course of specialized instruction and a study as distinguished from general academic instruction or apprenticeship and training. So the question of whether this firm provides a professional service turns in part on whether the practice is regulated by law. Therefore, I'm asking what regulatory body oversees what they do? And if there is actually such a regulatory body, do they actually have a prolonged formal course of specialized instruction and study as distinguished from general academic instruction and apprenticeship and training? I see what they're doing is basically just writing from the proposal that's attached in the ordinance. And that is supposed to be learning in general academic training. I quote from the resolution. Whereas as Direct Development, a New Jersey based full service creative services agency has provided an updated proposal dated June 1st, 2023 to provide the township with services included, but not limited to social media, press release writing, website writing, electronic newsletters for residents, resident-centric education and awareness campaigns, graphic design, and other needs. So my question is, what's the regulatory body?
There's also another exception under the bidding requirements for exceptional and extraordinary requirements, and I'll get you the exact language after this meeting, but I believe it would meet that as well. So it's not just professional services.
So they meet the extraordinary, or what was the clause?
Exceptional.
Extraordinary or
I'll
exceptional?
get you the exact wording. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think I asked this question back in March. There's a federal law on what defines a professional services. So won't the federal law supersede a state exception?
It's not a federal contract.
So the federal law designates what are clearly professional services, and we are saying we are awarding a no bid contract.
The federal law does not regulate this instance when you have an intrastate provision of a contract, which is covered by local public contracts law.
Okay. And the services provided by this entity come under extraordinary and exceptional services.
I'll send you the info. I'll send Liza the info.
Okay, thank you.
Liza's on vacation, so you won't get it until next week. And I forbid her from being on Zoom. Is she on Zoom? Okay, good.
I just have a follow-up, Mayor. When I asked about the last one was advocacy group that was going to advocate for Berkeley Heights to get us more federal grants. And I think it was a total of 120,000 that we approved, not to exceed 120,000. And I asked for an update on how much are we getting, like spending, it's almost $10,000 a month. So what is the benefit of return of investment? Like, can we get an update? Because we passed that in March.
I wait until my mayor's report because we were in Washington DC last week, so I can update you on that.
Okay, thank you. So the company was instrumental?
They were with us the entire time. They actually put together the meetings for us and attended them with us.
Okay,
They're doing the follow-up. I actually just handed off some handwritten note cards to Senator Menendez Booker and Congressman Kane that they're gonna follow up with. So I'll go through it, but the timing, we're not there yet. We
Okay.
feel good about things, but they're still negotiating the federal budget.
Mhm.
I think likely we'll know for sure in the September, probably more like October range. But that's just the regular cycle. And that's similar to what happened with Malinowski in 2022. think it was a late fall or mid-fall kind of final, when they vote on the budget kind of thing.
But we weren't working with an advocacy group back then. We were just
And
doing
we're
it. on-
more, I mean, we got a 500,000, we're hopeful that it's going to be more like 2 million, you never know.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, but, we got some really, I mean, again, we can talk about it during our report, but we got some really positive feedback and going to Washington, sitting in front of the staff people that advise and help make these decisions, as well as the legislators that make these decisions face to face and explaining to them. Liza did this wonderful video, that from residents, it was actually, you made the video as well, your basement. Showing them just a typical August rain event or a typical event like this evening and how much flooding and damage occurs during just a typical rain event. And that's why we need to, the funding for the sewer plant, but
Yeah.
just generally the infrastructure and flooding issues that we.
No, all I'm saying is this public relations contract is $30,000. It adds up, for a small town like us, and that's $120,000. So if we can get a monthly update on, hey, we are spending $10,000 here for an advocacy group, we're spending $2,500, because many residents have heard during the campaign trail, like Manny and a lot of us saying fiscal responsibility, accountability. So I think when we see these ordinances, we would like an update, like we are spending this money and this is what's our return of investment.
And I think I've been giving a monthly or close to a monthly on winning strategy. Some of it is just sort of waiting and letting them negotiate. But let me go back to this one specifically, the direct development. This is to hire somebody to do a lot of the, communications as Liza's background, strong background, and she does a great job and has been doing a great job. This will allow her to free up more time to spend on these grants. I mean, she's really been instrumental in the, $1 million, almost $1 million for the bike grant and some of these other things that we've been getting. She can't do both, to be honest with you. And so the priority is really for her to keep focusing on these large grants and to offload some of the media tasks to somebody else for, 25.
Won't winning strategies be handling our grants?
No, two different things. So winning strategies is they're federal lobbyists. That's what they are. They are federal lobbyists and they're very good at what they do. Direct Developments is a media company. They do.
No, I mean, you said you're freeing up Liza's time so she can focus on the federal grants. So I was,
State and federal. It's.
No, but
a
the
lot of-
difference is, I'll interrupt
yeah,
you,
sure.
but like, so we just won that big Safe Routes to School grant.
Mhm.
There is a ton of paperwork required for a federal grant, and you have to have a full-time township employee assigned to manage that grant. It's Liza. So we won that big Transportation Alternatives grant. We just won $1,250,000 for Sherman Avenue. Federal grant again requires a full-time employee dedicated to making sure the paperwork gets done with that grant. We still have this building that we are in negotiations with and discussions with the builder to get it done completely. Liza has to manage that. So we've had money in our budget for 2 years for a part-time communication person because we have to let Liza be the administrator and not just be the communication person. And this firm allows us to hire a firm instead of one person to do that work that we've been looking for almost 2 years.
okay. No, when I heard that it frees up time from communication, I thought winning strategies handles all our grant related work.
No, they're a federal lobbyist. Direct Development is the media person and more local
So
than.
they basically get us the connections and then we still have to do our own paperwork.
No.
Two different things. So winning strategies is really about the federal appropriation process, not that it comes in as a grant, but it really is getting Berkeley Heights into the federal budget. That is our goal and objective. If you think about how many municipalities there are nationwide, it's a Herculean task, but they have great relationships in New Jersey in particular, and they're very successful with other municipalities. So what they're tasked to do is just the federal lobbying piece of what goes on. Because we're not in DC full time, they can handle, if there's meetings or correspondence or follow-up or, to write the description of the appropriation. There's a whole bunch of work that goes into that. What Direct Development does is what you kind of see Liza doing all the time, where she's, really improved communications, social media, or those email blasts you get when there's a road closure or something happens, or just keeping the social media updated like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Why is it a no bid contract? Like, why aren't we opening it up to other entities? Like, that's where I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
what makes it extraordinary and exceptional?
I'm not gonna try to play lawyer here. I'm gonna let Alex give you that language, so.
Okay. So it basically it doesn't meet the, why are we doing no bid contracts? So if you can, what's so exceptional about this? Thank
I'll
you.
have Alex get you that language. All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Seeing no one, I move to close the hearing on agenda